Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing basketball.
Here's our hosts, Steve Collins, and Bill Flitter.
So let's dive into. I'll give you an example of what I teach. We've come up with a framework called Red Dot, and I know you have your frameworks as well. And what it's the red part, RED, is the game on the court, and it's what I believe every coach that I'm directing should follow or prioritize, because it can help win games. The dot part is the game in the head, right, which is your biggest opponent a lot of times as a young athlete. So red stands for rebounding, efficient scoring, and defense. If we can out-rebound the other team, if we can score without the ball touching the ground or as efficiently as possible, and we dive into what that actually means. And then, of course, defense wins championships, right? We've heard that for years, right? And you can put pressure, take away space. On defensive side, you're going to win games. Then the dot is drive, open, together. So drive is the energy and effort you bring to open is being coachable. And then the T is together. So there's no individuals. We love each other. We're doing this together. And we bring that to life as well. So before every game, every practice, you get a red dot. My hand is probably stained. You actually can see it, but you put it right here.
You're clubbing. You're not clubbing.
You're not clubbing. Yeah, no.
Okay.
So between your index finger and your thumb, we put a little red dot because that's a pressure point. And so when anybody, including me, make a mistake, we just say, we push that and we push the red dot and we say next play, right? And so what all of this stuff allows me to do, well, and even here I have it sitting on my desk. At the end of every practice, we give out red dots.
Sweet. And
one player starts us off. And then it's peer recognition. I want to give a red dot to Justin. He was really focused today, played great defense. And then Justin, you get to give one out, and we give out 3 a night. So then it's peer-to-peer recognition of your teammates, right? And by putting that into that framework, right, all I have to do in a game then too is, especially the next play stuff, is just, hey, next play. Right? And they know what to do. Like, okay, I can see them. Like, just missed that wide open layup and they're running up the court. And I'm like, that's it. You're done. You got to move on now. You push the red button, reset, go up the other side. So it's these quick little things that we want to teach the kids just to be mentally strong. But then, what do we practice first? It's all the red stuff: rebounding, efficient scoring, defense, right? We can land those 3 things, then all the other stuff will come too, and we'll win games. So
I love that construct. I really like the, sport, as in life, there's going to be some failures. You're not going to hit every shot you take, and it's just the mental kind of the reset, I think, and even the red dot of just pushing that, or really does deliver kind of a really clean message, and helps on the mental side of things, doesn't it?
Well, it manifests it in real life. It's a physical action. It's not just something I'm thinking. I'm physically doing something. So it's connecting all the senses. And then with the red dot after every game and every practice, right, that also brings like a physical reward to hard work and recognition. So, yeah.
I love it. It's great.
So can you dive into like your philosophies like that, or some of your frameworks that would help coaches, just coach better?
Yeah, and maybe without being able to like showing some of these things, I'll do my best to kind of describe and walk through what we've got. A while back we did put together kind of a philosophy, coaching philosophy that has a number of tenets.
And before you start that, I think I want to emphasize something that I think I don't want to overlook, especially for you. These things are really important for you because one, you franchise, there's 750,000 kids this year, and you have, did I get that, 300 plus coaches?
Well, those would be we have
franchisees.
65 franchisees. Now it depends on how big the franchise is and how many coaches we have. There's several. There's thousands of coaches that we
thousands of coaches. So you have 165 franchisees, which, if you kind of know the franchise model, it has to be standard. It is nearly the same, right? You go in one McDonald's, it's the same as another McDonald's, right? It's same menu, etc. So to have frameworks and curriculum is extremely important for you, and it has to work.
Yeah. So it may be just a little description of what a typical soccer shot session might look like will be helpful as a reference point. Because I know
perfect. Yeah.
You've got coaches out there that have a team and that you're building on. You're playing games, et cetera. A lot of different age groups too. So we are dealing with, in most cases, some of the youngest, participants. In many cases, the first time involved in the sport. We are at a hosted location, so we might be in a preschool or a child care center. We might be in a park in a public setting. We may have parents around that place. Maybe the parents aren't there, but we've got child care teachers milling around. And so we've got a coach that is coming in and having, children who have signed up for our program one time a week for about 30 to 40 minutes. And so it might be a season of 10 or 12 weeks. So you kind of think of each of the sessions as almost like it's not a standalone clinic, although it can stand alone. We are building on each of the preceding lessons. But a week goes by, you're with a 4-year-old or 5. So there's quite a bit of repetition. I think that you need for that, and there's things that kids forget. There's also confidence built in continuing to practice and relearn or work on what was previously taught. So there's a combination of like consistent things that you'd see every session at Soccer Shots, with slight changes. So, the structure of our lessons will always be the same. There will be an introduction. There would be kind of a review of the rules. I think I've mentioned we've got 3 rules: listen to your coach, believe in yourself, and try your best. And so, those things will always be there. Character words. We've incorporated over time a character word for a particular session. So there's now, depending on the age group, for the younger ones, we might have only 3 character words, continue to repeat those throughout the season. For older ones, we'll incorporate other character words. But, for example, determination might be a character word, with a kind of a simple definition. So up front, we work hard and never give up. right? And determination, right? And there's you're
Yeah.
you're you're clapping it through. There's a call and response, and then that particular character word, as you can imagine, is woven through the lesson,
Nice.
where the games, right? The coach is prompted to kind of remind, what does determination mean? We work hard, never give up. All right, Susie, keep trying, need
Yeah.
determination. So, and I think we know this, that sport is rife, is so perfect for kind of lessons to be taught.
Absolutely.
I think what we've learned for this younger age group is that we need to be intentional in calling that out. And we need to be able to like prompt coaches to show when, for the example I've given, determination is being shown, and then encourage children when determination maybe needs to be shown. and and so that's a big part of Soccer Shots is kind of naturally, but intentionally, incorporating character concepts in a simple form in the sport, in the activities. But then there's a warm up, and then there's a skill review or a skill introduction. It could be a skill review. And then there's a fun game incorporating that skill. And then we actually get into playing soccer. So it kind of looks like soccer, where it's a scrimmage, a small-sided scrimmage, where, it does build on itself. What you see in the very beginning, especially for the young ages, is it's kind of a mess, where you're kind of resetting. We've got tips on how to kind of run this, and you have, one side and pennies, one side not, and kind of going to one side to the other. We reset, go back to your goals. They go back, and you put the ball down, and we talk a little bit about which goal do you need to score on, which goal do you need to defend. What does defend mean? So I'd say that like there's a structure that's super important. And then within that structure, there's a prescription of like what coaches need to be doing along with videos. And so I think that has been big for us too, of like, to give a blueprint to someone is great, but how do you get that how do you breathe life into that? And so character development, huge, always skills. We're very kind of skill focused. And I think when it comes to the game, the older that they get, the more we're playing, we'd say, real soccer. But all the games incorporate like a dribbling skill, or perhaps we're working on shooting or passing, or receiving, change of direction, and the like.
Yeah. So that's and we talked about this before off air, which was this idea there's no shortage of information that exists, right, about soccer, about basketball. It's the organization of that into a curriculum that really matters the most. And that's really what you guys are doing. That's what we're doing.
You too.
Coaching
Yeah.
Youth Hoops is doing. And it's learned over several years and iterations and feedback of what the best way, the best way to organize that information. And the thing that I also love about what you guys do is that character development piece, even at that young of an age where, they're not, it's a harder concept probably for them to grasp, but sometimes it's the first time, just like they're learning soccer, first time they heard about, determination and what that means. It's a big, that's a big word, right? For a second, third grader,
Right.
or a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. One of the things that I always say, and it helped me in the last, I would say 6-7 years of coaching, was it dawned on me. It's like, I'm not coaching basketball. I'm coaching confidence. And I'm just doing that on the basketball court. And when I changed that mindset, my coaching changed drastically. From the X's and O's to being a little bit more patient, being a little bit more understanding, breaking the skills down, looking at things outside the basketball world that will help them build their confidence. How I say, what I say, all of that thing just completely changed.
Bill, I think, one of the big things that I haven't really mentioned is just just a certain enthusiasm and positivity that goes into,
Right.
I think,
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to like simply just high fives. Kids love
Oh,
high
yeah.
fives. Kids love them. Right?
Claps,
Kids get
right?
claps, high
Yeah.
five, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Fist bumps. Yeah.
knowing the kids' names from the outset. But we get, I've mentioned this previously, we have something called the Net Promoter Score, which is
Yeah.
a survey sent out to parents about their experience, their child's experience. It's so heartening to get accounts of like a mom who's like, my daughter was petrified in the very beginning. And at the
Yeah.
end, she couldn't wait to go to Soccer Shots.
Hmm.
A lot of that is coach's ability to like bring that little girl out of her shell or little boy, and being able to make them feel comfortable. And there's a growth in confidence there where they start, believing in themselves. Oh, they're being
Yeah.
celebrated for scoring a
Yeah.
goal. Oh, by the way, this is fun, enjoy being with kids, my own age. And so in a short amount of time, yeah, you do like we don't get to see, although I'm hoping we'll find somebody who's gone on to play professional soccer, but that's not what the goal is for us.
Right. Right.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
goal, we've got a vision statement is to provide a beloved growth experience for every child, a remarkable experience for every family. We do that through soccer, but
Yeah.
but
Right.
there's that experience is not only just learning soccer skills in the game. So,
Yeah. And the feedback you get, you can, that's measurable based on the net promoter score, which is, now are they going to come back a second time or the third time, right? So that's if the coach is doing his or her job, then that child is going to come back. And yeah, and I think enthusiasm, I mean, we've all been there. There's days that I don't want to go to basketball practice. I just had a bad day at work, right? A long day at work, whatever. But man, as soon as I step on that court and see those kids, I'm like, okay, I don't want to be any place but here, right? For the next hour and a half, right?
and Bill, I think one of the things that I'm reminded of when I read those comments from parents, I'm reminded of something that I know to be true in my own life, and I know to be true like through I have three kids. Two of my sons played soccer, and it's amazing how much influence and impact coaches have,
Yeah, yeah,
and what they wield when it comes to ability to
absolutely.
encourage, and unfortunately they can be destructive, but to really get children to grow and to be confident and to be determined. And so yeah, I think that's something that's like for us once again at Soccer Shots, and maybe just encouragement to any coach that's listening, like you're making a difference. It doesn't mean that
Right.
not many of our players are going to go on to play D1 basketball or soccer, and that's hopefully not necessarily the goal for us in youth sport. It isn't at Soccer Shots, but it's
Yeah,
rewarding.
and I think what we're both saying is you have to have, as a coach, you have to have your why. Why are you doing this? And it has to be beyond, in my opinion, of course, the wins and the losses, or the wins really, right? But also beyond the skill that you're teaching or the sport you're teaching. It's got to be at a deeper level. If, again, in my opinion, if you're going to be an effective coach that does influence your
Yeah,
players, right? You
that's
got to
right.
care. You got to care, right?
Indeed.
And dive into that a little bit too, as your franchisees have to hire coaches. What are you looking for? And again, basketball, we have to hire coaches all the time, right? Is it the most skilled coach? Is it a coach that, they all have to have, all have to play before? What characteristics go into finding, or what is the perfect coach for you guys?
I have a little acronym for you, Bill.
Yeah, great. I love acronyms.
We're worked around it. SCORE, safety conscious, caring, organized, responsible, and enthusiastic. And I think,
Yeah.
we've built out some questions, and that we've equipped franchise owners to ask to kind of gauge how candidates rate in those areas. One of the maybe more surprising things folks might learn about this is We actually don't need folks who have played high level soccer.
Mm-hmm.
We've developed some strong coaching training. I think a curriculum is very strong. Um, and so what we need folks who, yes, are caring, willing to get a little silly, a little silly, a
Yeah.
little enthusiastic, get into it. Like I've talked about breathing life into the curriculum. Um, we also, for our purposes, because we're working in child care centers and preschools, there's a certain maturity that we're looking for. We've had some amazing stay-at-home mom coaches, for example,
Mm-hmm.
want to get out for a couple days. They drop their own kids off at grandma's house and they come and they coach, going into a child care center, and maybe they've played a year or two of high school soccer, that's kind of a profile. We have some good college age kids as well, but they're not always the most responsible. I can speak that way because I've got some college age kids myself.
Yeah. Yep.
Pseudo adults, Bill. They're getting there.
That's right. Yeah.
And so, there's walking into a place of business and, leading children out and setting up the field and, conducting this takes somebody who has some maturity and responsibility, but also can get a little silly and follow.
Especially the age group you're working with
right.
is important, really important. Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of maybe clubs don't grow is because of finding quality coaches. And I like your idea of the score framework. Again, have an idea of who's the perfect coach. So from what I heard you say, though, you could teach an old basketball coach like me. I could be teaching soccer.
You could be great at it. Well, yeah. It's funny you say that because, not a while back, I was asked to coach basketball. And
okay.
I was this close to saying yes.
Really?
And I think if I were given the same tools that like you providing your basketball coaches, I think I would have said yes, even though like I've coached soccer and just giving some direction and giving some like training. And I think for us, I go back to Soccer Shots. There's a lot of people who like, they love kids and they are responsible. Yeah. We do, we're for profit. We do pay a fair wage for that. And so, there's tools to kind of help mold a candidate who qualifies and who maybe, I don't know if I can, no, you can, here's how you do it. And that is a key, I think, for scaling as well. I think for too many organizations, there's an accidental approach to, finding coaches. You've got somebody who's played, who knows the game, knows kids. That's a bit of a unicorn, and it's really hard to have an entire club comprised of folks like that year after year.
Yeah, well, and our audience, is made up anything from a high school coach, club coach, down to a rec league that needs parent volunteers. And a lot of times I hear from parents, I've never coached before. Well, okay, here's all the material. Here's the material, right? Here's the basics, and I think there's enough info, like you said, out there. That and curriculum that either you did or we've done to give you the confidence that you can coach, and you should if you have this enthusiasm and care for the kids and you want to see them succeed. The other stuff is it's not hard, right? It's not hard. You can learn it. Just like anything, just like learning a language, right? It is a language on itself. So, well, I'm going to still try to recruit you then for basketball. Get you on the court. But you got to remember one important thing.
What's that?
That you dribble the ball with your hand.
Oh, got it. Okay.
You get a foul if you use your feet to move the ball up. Okay.
I need a reminder.
Yeah, exactly. Well, is there anything else that you want to share that I didn't cover? This has been an amazing interview, learning about your processes, learn about your philosophies. And I think that really is what comes down to what makes Soccer Shots an impressive organization. But just, it doesn't matter. It's like you have to have some structure. You have to learn how to speak to kids. Your frameworks will really make your coaching life so much easier, even if you're a team of one, right? And versus a team of 1,000, right? What you guys are doing, but it doesn't matter.
No. Bill, maybe just one thing, and it's something that I reflect on whenever we have operations training. So we've got several times a year, we bring in new franchisees and key operators, many of whom are trained coaches. One of the things that I hear and witness just repeatedly is the value of watching other people coach, going to other people's practices. Like, so for us, we're so isolated as coaches. We do what we can. We're trying to focus on our team and how things are going. But to from time to time to just sit in, go on the bleachers or the sidelines and just watch another respected coach run a practice. Understand how are they communicating? What are they trying to train? And I think that kind of community is really helpful. Something we try to incorporate even within teams is, going and traveling and watching other Soccer Shots coaches to learn, also to give some feedback. It depends on how structured you want to be, but I just think that it's encouraging. It's a way of learning. And if somebody's coming to watch you, there's also opportunity for some input and feedback, depending on what that relationship's like. But I'm impressed with what you're doing with basketball and coaching and the curriculum and training devices that you're giving coaches. It's pretty impressive stuff. So appreciate that.
Thank you. And likewise, I think we have mutual admiration for what we're doing in different sports. And again, I can't say enough how, if you haven't, check out Soccer Shots. If you're ever interested, coaches out there to start coaching soccer, or look for, looking for a program for your kids, look to Soccer Shots, because what Justin and his team have done is absolutely amazing. And the level of detail is second to none. So we appreciate you having you on the show today, and look forward to, like I told you, seeing all those little signs out there of Soccer Shots in my own community, and just kind of smile and say, "Hey, Justin, I know that guy."
Bill, well, thank you so much for the opportunity. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and keep up the great work out there to influence all the kids that you're doing, because that's going to change their lives. Coaches, thank you for tuning in to another episode. I hope you enjoyed this one, and hope you're going to pull away some great nuggets for Justin. Until the next time, take care.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Rose is your name, but when you poop it sure don't smell like roses. Your number 2 burns the hair in my nose, but we fought hand in paw. Now your poop don't stink at all. Now that the air is clear, I'll treasure your front and rear, my sweet Rose.
Instantly neutralize poop stink with Poop Fighter from World's Best Cat Litter, for the world's best cat.